Hello, world. It's your man, Quantel Lindsay, and you tuning into the Quantel Lindsay podcast. And this episode is brought to you by Blueprint for Life. There is no blueprint for life, but together we can create one. Guys, I'm super excited. I got legends on. Do you hear me? And one of these legends jumped in and told me I was looking like I got my stuff together. So this interview is already starting off right, man. I got the one, the only Notaverse with Petty D, aka P-Zilla, aka from the gutter of the ghetto. Listen, man, together they make up Village Kings.
Yes,
Y'all
sir.
give my brothers a digital hand clap, please. Yeah, let's go. Listen, Kings, no pun intended, Kings, and thank y'all for being on the show. How are you guys?
Man, super good, bro. Super good, man. It's a great feeling, bro. It's a great feeling to be loved. It's a great feeling to be putting out music. It's a great feeling to be serving the King of Kings right now, bro.
Amen. How about yourself, Notaverbs?
Man, I'm feeling good as well. Echo what my man just said. It's a great day to be alive. It's a gift that we get to just experience more of God's mercy and grace and love and patience with us. So
Yeah, that's real.
All that to be said, man. Just glad to be here talking about it too.
Yeah, man.
Man, good deal. Good deal. Listen, man, I'm going to dive right in because what people do not know, if I don't know if you've been under a rock, I don't know where you've been for the last few decades. These brothers have affected and infected the culture with bars, hip hop. These guys are pioneers. And what we want to do on the Quantel Lindsay podcast is, King, we want to give you guys a crown, give y'all crown while y'all can wear them. I don't do flowers because if we've been honest, them flowers be stinking. So I want to give y'all crowns, man. I ain't never got a flower and like, yo, that smell good. So I never really got that concept. But
hey,
I do. Go ahead.
Hey, the poet said, "Don't what do you say? Roses smell like boo boo.
Roses really smell like boo boo.
Come on, he tried to tell us. Yeah. Listen, so yeah, we want to give these two kings, man, that crown for everything you gave to the culture, everything you're giving to the culture. Because what people do not know, what we're gonna get into, these brothers have not stopped. These brothers have been in the entertainment business on the front, on the back. These people are married, have kids. They have been infecting and putting out content and living what they rap about. So one more time, salute to Village Kings for being on the Quantel Lindsay podcast.
Appreciate it, man. Appreciate the love, bro. Real tough.
Most deaf. I'm going to jump right on in, man. Listen, if you got questions for these kings, drop them in here and we'll get to them before we wrap up. Who is Petty D and Notaverbs?
Oh, man, I let Verb. You going to let me lead off with that? Okay. All right. So, Petty D, man, I'm, dude from Florida, man. I gave my life to the Lord at 19, 20. I was in the streets. God turned my life around. I was actually next up in the mainstream in Florida. Some of my, constituents, some of the premier pioneer mainstream artists in Florida. I gave my life to the Lord, and I remember going to the studio, and I was like, man, I'm gonna rap for Jesus now. And I remember them cats bust out laughing. Wow. And it was like, is that even a thing? I heard a group called SFC, Phase 3, Soldiers for Christ. And they were out of LA. And I was like, that's what I want to do. They were speaking life. They were speaking what I was going through as a new believer. And that made me make up my mind to rap and follow Christ through music. And that was... I started putting out music, started doing shows, and then I think it was like 95, something like that. I did a show with a group from a label called Great Tree Records, man. Great Tree. Before they blew up. This was Great Tree before they blew up.
Okay.
The group was called DDC. DDC I opened up for DDC, and they was like, yo, you fire. It's a new label starting. called Great Tree Records out of Texas. You know, we want to hook you up with the CEO and all that. Long story short, I was on the Great Tree compilation, Heaven's Hip Hop. I think that was in 1996.
Wow.
And yeah, in 1996, I was on Heaven Hip Hop compilation. On the back of that CD, everybody's contact each artist was on the back of that CD, and all of those through that compilation, I began to build relationships with Lil Rascal, Antonius, everybody that was on the CD. And then I did Heaven's Hip Hop compilation Volume 2, and then the one of my closest homeboys, he started a label called Shabak Entertainment. I started on my second album, because my first album got destroyed at a studio, and I had to start all over.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, 2007, 2008, I had to start all over, brand new album. And 2009, my first album dropped, and the rest is history, bro. And been riding out for the Lord ever since.
Okay, hold on. We're gonna jump to my man Know the Verbs, but hold on, Petty D. You dropped Grape Street, and that's one of them. If you know, you know. That's and your first album.
Grape Tree though, because Grape Street. Yeah. Those are two different.
Grape Street. Hey, Grape Street, them LA boy. That's
hey, listen. See, you know, the Lord delivered me, but the hood still came out right there. Hey, I'm so glad the homie Know the Verbs called the I ain't trying to bang.
Verbs from the West too. So
that's a different testimony right there.
Get it right.
Hey, listen, Verbs start like, yo, is he set tripping on the podcast? Nah, not.
Hey, just in case, you know, the what do you call it? The snippets of this interview get out.
Yeah,
like, yo,
he ain't from Grape Street.
Used to be, Grape Street.
We don't even know, cuz. Now I'm glad. But now, shout out to all my homies on the West. I don't want no smoke. Listen, okay. So your first album came out in 2009? Your very first solo project?
1999.
Okay, 1999.
Yeah, it was 1998, 1997. I first started my first album, and that album actually got destroyed because we was recording on ADATs. I don't know if y'all know about ADATs. They were like VCR tapes.
Hello.
So you went from reel to reels. ADATs were like micro reel to reels, if I can break it down. Like when people watch movies and they see people recording on those reels, ADATs was a way to actually have your music on reel to reel, but it looked just like a VCR tape. And it was an ADAT machine, and then they went to this one called a DAT machine, and then it went to from DAT machine to the mini ADATs, and then to digital. But the whole album was destroyed. It was left in a studio. The studio got sold, and all of the ADATs were overheated in Florida, and the whole album was destroyed. And
yeah, wow. That's crazy. That's crazy, man. With saying ADAX right there, the pastor would have said, "I lost the whole room." I know a lot of people that's tuning in right now, like, what's an ADAC? They like they know a stream. So yeah, man, that's amazing. Know the Verbs.
Yes, sir.
Give us your story, King. Who is Know the Verbs? Who is Know the Verb?
Yeah, man. Yeah, bro. Born and raised Phoenix, Arizona. Go Suns. We trying to stay in there. Man, like way back. So I came to Christ pretty early on at a summer camp, 1987, 12 years old, 6th grade. Man, the first time hearing a gospel message preached, and knew I needed Jesus, man. So that week, I think at the camp they did like a talent show. And so myself and my best friend out there, we said, man, let's write a rap about Jesus. And so we did the little talent show, and the people responded to it because, again, this is 1987. As far as we know, there is nothing called Christian rap, gospel rap at the time, you know, to find out otherwise later. But so, yeah, we did it, man. And we said, hey, we can use this, man, as a tool as we go back home to tell people about Jesus through this music and through this culture of hip hop. And so that's kind of what started it for me. And then again, come to find out that, you know, actually, I think I did hear Stephen Wiley, who's, you know, the first one on record with actually producing an album or a song called Bible Break.
Yeah.
But then beyond that, I ran into a guy known that Petty mentioned, Soup the Chemist from Soldiers for Christ, for SFC.
Yeah.
He came through the city in Phoenix, man, shortly after I came back home from that camp. And I remember going into Tower Records with my dad, and right there by the cash register, there was this hand-drawn flyer that said gospel rap concert. And it blew my mind because I was thinking we were on to something that the world hadn't heard of yet, as we were writing our little songs. And so I begged my dad to take me over there. And yeah, man, so it was Soup in somebody's backyard, had a PA system set up.
Wow.
Right there in the middle of the hood. And it was, yeah, it was incredible. And so I got a chance to meet him briefly and just tell him, man, I didn't know anybody else was doing this what you're doing. That's what I want to do. And so that was kind of my encouragement there from that point forward, just wanting to get better at the craft, and be able to communicate the message of the gospel in a way to where, one, young people my age had something that they could listen to, because there wasn't too many options at that point. People, as they were trying to follow Jesus, give them something that would edify them. But then also folks who didn't know Jesus at all, but knew the sound of hip hop music, be able to use that as a medium to communicate the message as well. So musically, that's who I am. Outside of that, man, just I'm a husband, I'm a father, and just trying to grow in all aspects, and a son and uncle and grandson as well. So trying to grow in all those domains of life.
Real.
Dope, man. Dope. Listen, you're tuning into the Quantel Lindsay podcast. I got Nota Verbs, Petty D. They make up Village Kings, man. Listen, this episode is sponsored to you by Blueprint for Life. But if you want to sponsor the next episode, reach out to us, connect up with us, and we can build. Listen, I got to ask, where did the name Nota Verbs come from? Like, can you break that down for people? Nota Verbs. Like, how did you come up with that?
So, man, I've been like I would say somewhat of a rap nerd from like early, since I started listening to hip hop music. So you started early 90s, there was this whole new wave of like the backpack era of lyricism. So that was groups, anybody from like De La Soul, Tribe Called Quest, Far Side, Souls of Mischief, Leaders of the New School. So that was like my entry into, all right, these guys are really doing it. I'm going to study what these guys are doing. So, everybody had their names outside of like their government name. And really, honestly, it was names like a Busta Rhymes or a Grand Verbalizer or all these different MC names that guys are putting together. So Nota Verbs is basically the word knowledge and the word verbalize chopped up and put together. So Nota Verbs, not only having knowledge of the word, but being a doer of the word as well. And then that's how I bake it all up for the Nota Verbs cake.
Oh man, fire. Petty D, man. How do we get Petty D?
Same thing. Hip hop, man. I was a huge, you had everybody had, it was Ice-T, Donald D. Everybody had their name with the initial on the end. And I remember being in school, and my teacher, when they passed out the SAT test, they passed it out your last name first and first initial last. Okay. When they pass out the test. And when I seen it, I was like, Petty D. So it was P-E. So that's actually my last name. P-E-T-T-Y.
Okay.
D. So it was Dwayne Petty, but it was Petty D. So it's P-E-T-T-Y-D. And I said, oh man, I wasn't even a rapper then. I was like, if I ever become a rapper, that's gonna be my name. I was a beatboxer then.
Yeah.
I was a beatboxer, and my homeboys used to rap. They had a little rap group. They used to always match. And man, the rappers always got the girls in junior high school and elementary school. Junior high school, I came home. I told my mama, I said, the rappers always get the girls, man. I'm gonna write me a rap, mama. She said, write you a rap, baby.
She like, right on, write you a rap, baby.
Write you a rap, baby.
Right.
As hip hop started progressing, I wanted to advance my name. So what I did was I changed the Y to an, when you're in school, they tell you to change the Y to an I, and add ES. Making it from a singular to a plural. So I was like, man, people are getting away from, going by their, this Donald D, Heavy D, Ice-T, you know, they're kind of getting away from that. And then the new rappers start coming out. They had like cooler one-line names. So I was like, I'm just going to change Petty D to one line. So I changed it to Pettid and then added 2 E's to it. Just wanted to be unique. Yeah, I just wanted to be unique. But it's still it's part of my legal. So it's part of my government.
I like it, man. I like with both of you guys' stage name, you got to dig a little bit. You got to dig a little bit. You know, we're not in that day no more, fellas, where you get to the album, read the back of the album, read the credits, read who distributed, you know, the magazine, read it 30 days before it come out. You get everything so fast, so quick. And you know, if we go to the movies, if I get an album, I'm trying to read the credits. I want to know the executive.
I miss that, man.
I want to know who the executive, also Universal paid for that. Like, I'll be wanting to know that. So I nerd out as well. So I'm like, Bird, Petty D, I need to know how these names came about. I need to know how
I miss flipping the record over, man, while the music playing and seeing who produced that track and who mixed it, what city it was mixed in. Like, yeah, I know what you're talking about.
With it. So you guys are solo artists at one point, successful solo artists. Let me put that out there. And then you guys come together and y'all say, man, it's time for a group. What is the story behind Village Kings? How did y'all make up Village Kings? For one, though, I feel like I use the word king so much, I'm already making myself an honorary member. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I'm with it. There you go.
I'm like Busta Rhymes to Tribe. You know what I mean? I ain't Tribe, but I'm Tribe. You know what I'm saying?
And the truth of the matter is, you are a Village King. So you are a Village King, and that was one of the concepts. The main is, we do utilize in our culture now, we do utilize trying to get away from some of the negative connotations, calling ourselves derogatory names and replacing that with king. And so first and foremost, just allowing ourselves to be a king of oneself. A lot of times we have to govern our own life and then a king of our village. You know what I'm saying? A king of our, you know, the king of our household, our village, not always in a lordship mentality, but always saying, okay, I can't move like that. You know what? Why? I can't move like that because I'm a king. Like, I'm not, you know, but then I'm a king of my village, my tribe. And, but we are not just kings of our village, but we are the kings who serve the King of Kings. So that's why we took the I out of it. And so it turns into one, Village KNG. So we're 2 kings serving under one King of Kings, and we take the I out of that king. So it's KNG because there's no I in these kings.
Fire, man. Know the verbs. You want to add to that, King?
I do, because I mean, the other piece of that right there, to add on to what Petty just mentioned, is you think about how Christ came down from glory, and then where he was born was the village. But yet he was king of the world.
That's real.
Man, listen, these brothers are hip hop artists. See, this is why I love hip hop, and I love men of God that do hip hop, because Village King sounds like a cool title, and then when you brothers break it down, it's biblical. It's honorable. It's like, man, it's something that's uplifting to another brother. It takes a village. We've all used that lingo. Shout out to y'all, man, on the creative level, keeping it biblical, rooted in scripture, and clever for hip hop as well. I love that y'all took the I out of king. That was fly.
And you are definitely a Village King, brother.
Hey, come on, man.
Hey, you make it look good, bro. You doing it, man. You make it look good, brother.
Come on, man. I appreciate that, man. Listen, I'm just trying to be better than what I was yesterday. You feel me?
Amen. Yes,
I love the story behind Village King. So, man, how did y'all come together, man? Like, you guys are bringing a group. This is a group, right? This is a movement. And who hit who? How did, like, man, let's do it, man, because we're gonna get into the music. Music, oh my word. So, but how did y'all even get to the point where it's like, we doing this? And I've been following you guys. For the people that's tuning in, they're not working on music. It's done.
It's done.
These brothers, when they brought it to the world, it wasn't like we working. They said we got the album, video, and brother, ever since y'all have brought Village King public, y'all haven't missed a beat.
Amen. And appreciate that, brother.
Yeah, thank you.
We I love telling this part of the story, because this is a part that, because we're ourselves and we don't, you know, I can't see my forehead, you know what I'm saying, unless I'm looking in the camera, but I can't see the story of how everybody else sees it. So what people don't, when people go, man, how did y'all come together? You know, these are two completely separate, completely separate. You know, people didn't think that he does this type of rap, he does this type of rap. How did y'all even? So from the outside and from the public, it looks like, you know, how did y'all even connect? And I love telling that story because we've had a over 20-year relationship behind the scenes.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? And we've been and we on the new song, I said we talking about Village King, I said we from the tree of the grits, here we go. So we both are branches from the group Grits. And now our team called the Factors of the Seven. So the Factors family is kind of like Grits dungeon family, if you will. So,
man, bro, you took the word out of my mouth. I said, giving me is what them young kids say is giving dungeon family vibes.
Yeah. So we're literally from the tree. We're from the tree of the Grits. We're from that the Factors family tree. I'll let Verbs tell his part, but you know, I've been a huge No the Verbs fan for a long time, and his first album came out in 1998, The Syllabus. 1999, his second album, Action Figure, came out. I was still working on my album at the time, and the owner of the label, I was at his house, and he ran and he showed me the cover, and Verbs on there looking like, you know what I'm saying, like he finna bust through a wall, Action Figure, silhouette. And he was like, yo, you gotta listen to this record. This dude is dope. This is that and the other. And then we just listened to the record. This was 1998 while we're still working on my first album. He's dropped his second album on Goatee Records. So a lot of people don't know that Toby Mac's label, Goatee Records, Verbs dropped his albums on that label. And I was still in the kitchen. I was still cooking in the kitchen. You know, Still Alive hadn't dropped yet. And man, I like this dude music so much. I was like, man, I just want to produce for him because, you know, being a producer, I was just like, yo, if I could just produce a track for No the Verbs, man, it'll be so dope. You know, when you're a producer, you just want to produce for somebody that's fire. So I literally went in and produced a track, put it on cassette tape. And the GMA Gospel Music Week was in Nashville. And I was like, man, we going to GMA. I'm gonna get No the Verbs my tape. I'm a remix his single. So he is the primary single off the album was a song called Action Figure. So y'all, if y'all ain't heard that, man, y'all make sure y'all check out Action Figure. But I remixed Action Figure and did a reggae, kind of a hip hop reggae, real hard, boom, boom, ba, boom, boom. I was like, he gonna like this. I hope he like it, and this, that. And then the rest is history. I gave it to him. He still has the tape.
Wow.
It's on a cassette tape.
That's cassette,
yeah, on a cassette tape. And so I moved years later, 2004, I moved to Nashville, and Verbs was already here. He was already on Goatee Records. He was already touring with Grits. He was already doing his thing, man. And I was doing my thing too down in Florida, but then I moved here to produce for Grits. And we were all at the same ministry. Grits, No the Verbs, Toby Mac, Out of Eden. You know, all of us are actually all of us are at the same ministry. And we just always vibed as brothers. You know, when he got married and he had two kids, and we've always been close knit in that aspect. And then we wouldn't see each other, but we both still live in the same city. But it was always brotherhood, 100% every time. And one day I was sitting down. This was I think 2020. And well, to go back a little bit, we've always done stuff together as far as like we've done a couple of shows together where they say somebody will call Verbs and say, hey, Verbs, do you know Petty D? Say, yeah, man, that's my homeboy. Boom, yeah, hit me up. We've done a couple of concerts that way. So it's always been, we've always been comrades in the music, but brothers behind the scenes, always. Wow. And so music the music is actually just a plus to the relationship that we already have. And we're just building on that and growing in that, being in each other's lives more while we're doing the music, but we've always been brothers. And so he invited me to his crib, and I told him, I said, man, I really miss the fam, because Teron moved to Minneapolis, and I'm just homesick, missing my brothers, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, man, I remember we used to all kick it together and stuff. And so I called him and I said, man, you know, we live in the same city, man, let's kick it. He was like, this is a good time, because we actually live in the same area now, and I didn't know that. We got together, man, and we just really caught up. And he told me about some voiceover thing. I'm working on voiceover as well, and he was going to school me on some things, man. This cat is a genius when it's come to this tech stuff, bro. So yeah, he got that. He got that. Verbs got that. So he said, man, let me play some tracks. Now, remember, we just still doing brotherhood thing. We just fellowship and doing what we do. We sat down, had a meal. He invited me to the crib. He's showing me things on voiceover. It's still just straight brotherhood. He said, yo, let me play some tracks for you, man. And I said, man, because I'm always recording. So even if I don't release the music, I'm always recording, I'm always producing, I'm always doing stuff. But I had kind of lost that fire, bro. I had lost that desire to, because I had, the industry really put a bad taste in my mouth for, the atmosphere of how people promote themselves. It's just, that's a whole nother thing. But I still was recording because it's what I love to do and what God put in me. And so, but hadn't had that fire to actually release anything. And Verbs was like, let you hear these tracks. And he started playing the tracks. And man, you an MC. If y'all don't know, Quantel is a fire MC, bro. He a dope MC. So don't let the podcast. He got the flame. So Quantel, when a track could be fire, but it's not speaking to you yet.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And he's like, yo, you just keep bumping the track and bumping the track and bumping the track, and then it's not speaking to you. You got to ride out to a little. But the times when you get a track and it's banging and the lyrics start coming to you. Boom, 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 boom. Yeah. So he started playing these tracks, man. Shout out to Tone Jones, man. Tone Jones, boy, he got that fire. So, man, he was playing the tracks, and it just seemed like everything just fit. And, man, all these, I hopped up, I stood up, and I just started, coming up with these mumble tracks. And he was like, oh, that's hot. He was like, wait, let me record that. So he got the mic, put the mic up there. I started doing a little mumble hook, then started doing a little mumble, and then he pushed me out the way, started doing his little mumble part, and then we were pushing each other out of the way and doing our part, and then backing up for each other and doing the part. And then, man, we was like breathing all hard, and he was like, wait, I got another track. He put the other track on. We started doing the same. I mean, the tracks are just speaking. And bro, I literally haven't felt like this since I was 14 years old, bro.
Wow.
I was like, I miss this. Like, I literally, this is why I fell in love with hip hop. Like I always tell people, hip hop saved my life, but Jesus saved my soul. Come on. Just to get back to that feeling and be able to feel that, and then he put on another track. Then he put on another track. And bro, who was in there like swaying, man, like vibing? So he burned down now these are all mumble tracks. Just straight vibe, like hook, mumbling, just going back and forth. And you know how we do, sometimes we'll take a mumble track and then we'll come back and put lyrics to it. Yep. But the vibe is there, folk, they call it vibing now. So we, we just riding out literally like a week and a half to just the mumble tracks, just the vibe tracks. And then I hit him up, I was like, yo, we need to do something. It was like 5 tracks. It was 5, 6 tracks. And it was like, yo, we need to do something with this, man. Like, this feels for real. And he was like, yeah, I've been riding out to it too. Man, and I was like, man, but I'm not interested in you, my brother. I'm not interested in doing a collab thing. You, my brother. I want to do something. I want to do a group. Like, I want to do something that means something right now. Yeah. Dudes just doing the collab, and then, it's co-promotion and all that. And I'm with that. But even Jesus sent the disciples out 2 by 2. And even when Elijah, I was feeling like Elijah at the time. And even when Elijah, God had to come to him and say, hey, come out of this cave. I got more, you know what I'm saying? I got more prophets, out there. So I wanted to link arms, with my brother, because we already had that. It was already solidified as brothers. I just wanted to present that. And I needed that. You know what I'm saying? And so here we are, bro. And wait, he made me promise. He was like, all right, bro. He was like, I think so too. He was like, but let's keep it under wraps. Cause you know how life happens.
Yeah, that's real.
To get the moving and let's do this. And so it was like, let's record the first song. After that first song, the second song, we was like, yo, this not for, this for real. This not for play. Like, yo, like, yo, we really like the brothers that's had this thing cooking for 20 years is literally doing music together now. So that's how it came about, bro, for real.
Man, that's fire, man. Just the brotherhood, 20-year relationship building. We all know as artists being in the studio and that vibe hit. So what it sounds like to me, if any artist out there, you're uninspired, you can't catch your mojo, get around Know the Verbs and he gonna play some tracks.
There you go. And he gonna
get you. It seems like he got a batch over there. Know the Verb. You want to add any of that, King?
Hey, I think that's. I mean, for me, I have been on hiatus for a while because I never got to the point where I just felt like, all right, you're all the way done. So the last full record I did was like 2007, and just said, all right. Same year I was getting married. I want to be able to focus on that, and then from there, obviously, life just continues. And I never really had like a burden to put everything else, to shift all the focus back on the music at that point. Because just, CHH, as far as movement, just continued to grow. You had more voices out there. And so I never really felt like there was something that was unsaid, to where I felt like I had a perspective to get in the booth and then redirect all that other life energy into that. Because I knew if I did it, my head would be all the way into it. And I had other things that we were just trying to cultivate in life. But much like what Petty said, it's like it got to the point when we connected. For me, it was therapeutic just to link up, because that was kind of towards the end of the shutdown and the pandemic. I had just lost my pops, and so just the music aspect just reawakened something in me as you just contemplate life, the value of it, the brevity of it, and so being able to just link up, talk about just life, be able to talk about music, and then get down to the work that we were doing was refreshing and a reset, for me. So. And the thing of it was, we knew that we couldn't, at this stage in life, we knew that we couldn't just go do what we would normally do, because it would be stagnant and stale. Right. And so we looked at it as, hey, our greatest competition has to be ourselves. So we got to challenge ourselves, and how do we sharpen, the craft a little bit? How do we introduce some new challenges as far as how we write? I've never done a mumble track. I never started writing a song with a mumble track ever. But when you think about other great artists who do it, like Michael Jackson or something like that, it was like, oh no, this is how you get the best of what you want to hear, even though you don't have the words yet. So we tried and implemented different processes than we would have normally, previously. So
we both stepped out of the box. We stepped out of a lot of boxes, bro. We stepped out of the box with this process. And then as far as the recording side of it, we implemented some of the things that we both have experience in the business world and in the organization. I've been able to be organized in a certain aspect of the industry and in music. Verbs has been able to be tremendously organized in this aspect of business as well, and media and scheduling. And so we took both of those, put them together, and say, hey, every Saturday morning, let's get together from this time to this time. And we literally put those, hey, I think what was the verse, like 8 to 11, 8 to noon, and we just hit it hard.
And that's important to mention, because that was the thing we definitely wanted to go back to, is being in the same room and writing versus emailing versus.
It hit different.
It hit different, bro, for real. It's not like
go ahead, King.
Yeah. No. He right. We wanted to bring. See, the thing is that it's a beautiful place to be. I think that's one of the advantages of doing it from the aspect of where we came from the analog days, and also. We wanted it to sound like we were in the same room, because we're in the same room. You know what I'm saying? And we didn't want to just I do a verse, and then the hook. He do a verse and then the hook. And I was like, yo, let's take it back to Run DMC. Let's take it back to passing it to each other. Let's take it back to, you see what I'm saying? That's like, and the only way we're going to get that is to actually be in the room. We got footage to where we're walking around the studio coming up with our verses. You know what I'm saying? Like that, you know, we brought that back. So it's like we're in a position to be in the best of both worlds. We're to take advantage of the technology that we have available to us, but to bring back the old school ways that work, that the new guys and that people are not implementing, to say, hey, listen, yeah, this is a brand new day, but don't leave this part out, because this work. Like don't leave this part. Don't leave, you know, if you're an artist out there, you trying to vibe with somebody, it's nothing like getting in the same room with them. You know, if you notice, man, Jay-Z, he tried not to have people send him tracks. Anytime you see something, that producer is actually in the room with him.
In the lab with him.
In the lab with him, because there's a whole nother vibe, a whole nother energy that comes with it when you're creating in the same space. And so it definitely paid off. It definitely paid off. And Verse challenged me in that aspect, because I'm good at hook writing. He's good at concepts and just wordplay. And then I'll hit the wordplay, and then I'll be like, I gotta step this up. I'm throw this away. delete. Yeah. I gotta redo that. And then there was times where I was like, yo, I'm gonna drop the bars here, you drop the bars there. He was like, yo, why don't we have that one? And I'm like, because I can't rap like you. Like, I don't want to have that one, but I'm gonna do it. Because he's challenging me. And it was like every place was like challenging. And then once I got into a vibe, and he was like, woo, I was like, okay, all right. So we just kept raising the bar and challenging each other. And like I said, we're so focused on challenging ourselves that we're not concentrating on being in competition with nobody else or the sounds that's kind of out there. Kind of how Outkast do music. It's more so like, you know, everybody was on the Bling Bling era. They came out with Bombs Over Baghdad. You know what I'm saying? It's like every time somebody, but it was just fire. So it's like, even our sound, even the beats we use, even the rhyme flows, let's not have a 1990s rhyme flow. Let's update our cadence, but at the same time, let's flip it up, let's update, let's challenge each other on these type of beats. Let's change the flow on this one. And so, man, it's really, we use a lot of architecture on it. So
that's fire. What it sounds like to me, Zilla, is that you're doing a new thing in an old way, but it sounds new. I'm listening to the music, man. It's current, it's fresh, but I love what you're saying, man. Respecting the art, being in the room, the process, and we all can send over a record. But I love. You could tell you guys the respect for the art and the artistry, and that as a fan, as a consumer, man, I appreciate it, because you can hear it, brother. I said it before. You guys haven't missed yet, and I don't see y'all striking out anytime soon. And that's leading me to my next one. I freed 1,000 slaves. I could have freed more. Come on, hey, listen, hey, bro. When I heard that, I called and left. I think I left you a message or something. Man.
You did. I got it. Yeah.
Yo, I said so y'all just gonna come out like that, huh? Y'all didn't come out and hit a jab or nothing. I said it was scary, bro. When y'all led with that, when I said, oh, they got something. I was shout out to Grits. I had the homie Teron Carter, aka Bonafide, on here, and we was discussing y'all and talking about just culture and legacy, man. We was talking about Village King got something special. I pray that the community, the culture, especially CHH, get behind this. But man, tell us the story, man. Harriet Tubman, if you haven't heard the single, seen the video, I mean, these brothers play bully ball, man. These brothers were shacking in the paint on this record, y'all. It wasn't no 5 out. This wasn't no new NBA. This was old school bad boy Pistons right here.
Did that. Yeah, I'm gonna let Bird jump on that one, man.
That one was actually not supposed to happen, right? Because as Petty said, we had a batch of beats of stuff that we were working on.
Yeah.
And you know, the thing about Tone Jones, like, you know, he releases a batch every now and then. I don't think this was like on a recent newly dropped batch that he recently dropped, but it was like down there in the cache of his, you know, his beat list. And I came across it and I was like, yee. So I'm literally driving over to Petty's house, and then that beat played, started speaking to me. So I'm like,
same thing.
I'm trying to not
Hey, I'm
lose.
gonna put him out there. Same thing. He played a beat. If Verse play a beat, all you gotta do is get him to you and say, man, play a beat for me.
Hey,
yeah, go ahead, bro. Go ahead.
I'm gonna interrupt this show right now. Hey, big boy, wherever you are, get Andre 3000 the verbs right now.
Yeah. Play the beat.
Yo, Guns your family.
Yeah.
Get Andre 3000 to know the verbs right now.
Let him play the beat because he was coming to the crib. We was supposed to be working on another track. But go ahead, Verbs. Yeah.
Yeah, so we were like taking a break from whatever we were working on before that. I said, man,
that's right. Yeah.
I found this other one. Let me play this. And then just that, it was cracking. And then I don't even know. Oh, I had like 4 lines that I dropped down the car on the way over that I was still just working on. And it was like, and then out of nowhere, he was like, I don't even know how we came up with the song. Somebody said Harriet Tubman. And I was like, yeah. And then he came up with, I was like, what's the line that she's known for saying?
I freed 1,000 slaves. I
could have freed more.
Yeah. And
then it just started.
Yeah. I said, imagine if
and it was like,
I imagine she was frustrated when she said it, you know. I freed 1,000 slaves. I could have freed more. I was like, yeah. And we have that process on we got it on video.
And Zilla, man, I don't know if it's your nationality, man. I don't know if that's Florida in you, because we claim you here in Tennessee. You've been here long enough. But, like, I'm so glad you said what you just said, because it makes sense, because it sounded like Harry. When I freed 1,000, so I was like, I picture Harry in the woods with that thing, frustrated.
Yeah.
Like, you don't get it. Like, freedom is on the other side. There's goodness on the other side. And when you said that, I was like, and why I know men know the verbs of kindred spirit, because I nerd out as well. And I'm like, I can't wait to ask them, why was he so aggressive? With I freed 1,000 slaves, because you sounded frustrated.
Yeah. It's like, man, you know, you start thinking about that, and then we came from the song from the aspect of the spiritual side, because there are so many people that's enslaved in their minds, especially nowadays with social media. We're the most technologically connected, but you know, physically and mentally disconnected, and there are so many slaves in their minds, and it's like, you know, you're trying to free somebody that might attack you if you try to tell them the truth. And that can get frustrating. And I can imagine Harriet Tubman, like you said, with that thing, and somebody get afraid and then want to go back. And that actually puts you in jeopardy too. So
you going back is endangering everybody. And know the verbs, man. Zilla is embodying Harriet and doing what Zilla do, man. And when you came in, bro, I just describe it as being young out summer day, and it was like a tall, fresh glass of like ice water, and I was like, so calm, and I was just like, you got Zilla, you got this. This ain't supposed to work. This was amazing, bro, and it took me on a musical roller coaster, because it was just like, and then it was amazing. I mean,
with the pencil pull out, and you know what I'm saying? And it's like he's literally got you walking through the woods, and he's talking to you.
And you know Zilla, you give me Harriet with the thing running, and you just got this one note of verbs, like he just walking through, like he's so calm. He's so calm. Like, I ain't going back regardless. You know what I mean? He's so calm with it, man. And it's amazing, bro. And I'm telling you right now, I'm saying this to the culture. If Harriet Tubman ain't nominated for something, call me Kanye, because I'm going on a rant.
Okay, that's what's up, man.
I'm going on a rant. Go ahead,
man. Here's the beautiful part about it, man. I think, like, at that moment when we locked in and that whole thing came together quick, like freed 1,000 slaves, Harriet Tubman. Then it's like the movie pops in your head. So it's like, this is her leading through these people at night, through the forest, through the trees, which is how we got to the breeze through the trees quietly. And then from that point, it's like, okay, this has a cinematic feel to it. Petty mentioned, you know, we were both kind of starting like voiceover work. So there's all these little tips and tactics and voiceover that you use, tools that you use to get your voice to do certain things and utilize the mic and all that. So it's like, let's get that whole bag, start pulling out whatever we got. So this has the music is like a movie is what we were trying to communicate. So like movie, like you're in a scene that transitions to another scene. And so I think that's what, because I don't think I've ever recorded a verse like that, the way it was just like, if you see me moving quietly, decidedly.
With the pencil
that was us again. Like our greatest competition was ourselves. It's like, let's push. Like, don't just hop on and just, go 0 to 60. Like, take your time, breathe with it. There's no rush. And just tell the story.
And believe it or not, the song had 2 verses. The song was just for he and I. But we actually added a 3rd verse because I came to verse and I said, yo, like, we wouldn't be doing the song or the genre or the community a justice without having a female anchor the song. So shout out to Rocket. She's out of VA, man, and she's doing her thing. She loved the Lord, and there's definitely be more to come from her. But we wanted. Everybody's always talking about supporting our queens and supporting the females in CHH, but dudes have to literally put their hands down and do it, man, and support. And it's like we wanted her to anchor the song. You know what I'm saying? And she was gracious enough. Yeah, she was gracious enough to allow me to allow us to produce her as far as bringing it to another level. And she was open, and she wrote a couple of verses. And I've actually, like Verge was saying, from a standpoint of a movie, and I literally got on the phone and we had a conversation like, yo, listen, you Harry, you know what I'm saying? You anchoring this thing. Like, you need to speak to the young girls and speak to the women, and from the standpoint of setting them free mentally and spiritually. And she brought it, man. So, and I definitely, that's my heart this year and pushing forth is to put action behind supporting female artists, Christian hip hop artists. And really, man, as believers, we should be the ones getting behind our female Christian hip hop artists, man, because you think female rappers in the mainstream got it hard. They out here getting butt naked and doing all kind of stuff. Christian hip hop female artists have it 3 times as hard. And so we have to be able to get behind them, and she came with it, and we glad that we added her to the song, and it was a blessing.
Man, good deal. This is the Quantel Lindsay podcast. You tuning in to an amazing episode with Village King. Now, Petty D, Know the Verbs told us he got married. He felt like, he went on to another season. Your hiatus, for people to be like, Petty D just vanished. I know you personally. I know you never moved. You were doing a lot of things. But for the people that don't know, what has Petty D been doing throughout this time since your last project? I remember you dropped that mixtape. I believe the culture slept on, but I'll say my Kanye rant for another time. I remember one line you said, this the thing crazy. Tupac gone and Brenda still having babies.
Yeah.
Man,
hey, Tupac gone, who gonna take care of Brenda baby?
Man, I feel like, bro, I sat there and looked around when I played that, and I was like, so we just gonna act like that line was normal? we just not gonna pay attention to? And I was like, okay, we'll move on. So what?
I've always been. I went through a hard thing, man, and then the Lord. I'll make a long story short, man. The Lord came to me and just said, "Would you be okay?" I was traveling a lot, and I noticed that a lot of guys were that had on their soldier, their uniforms, and people would always go, "Thank you for your service, thank you for your service." And I noticed that. But then the Lord said, "What about the Navy SEALs? What about the guys in Special Forces? They don't get us thank you for their service. They don't get us that thank you for their service because the whole purpose of them is to be, nobody to know what they've done. And then who do the soldiers call on when they need help? They call on Special Forces. But then when the Special Forces come home and they got on plain clothes, they don't get a thank you for your service." And the Lord was like, "Would you ever knowing what you've done behind the scenes, would you be okay with not getting a thank you for your service. Once you come to the point where you're okay with not getting a thank you for your service, then because I refused. What I decided to do was, before I become an angry, bitter artist and cynical, that I was going to put it down.
Yeah.
And that's what I did, because there was a lot of things that happened, just being snubbed out of awards, and just, being owed money, and just so many things just happening, just like kind of getting hit in the head over this brick and that brick. And I said, before I become angry and bitter, I'll just back off. And but God saw otherwise, and so I would always get offered features. Somebody else said, I'm gonna do this feature, then I'm done. Then somebody else, I'm gonna do this feature, but I'm done. And then somebody want a beat, I'm gonna send them this beat, but I'm done. And this is like the Lord just kept me in it. And then the TV and film stuff. So we've had placements in Sons of Anarchy, CSI Miami, America's Next Top Model, Pimp My Ride, Tyler Perry's Meet the Browns. And the culture, the CHH culture, would never cover that. I thought that it would motivate people to say, hey, this was like back in the G. So I just say, you know what, I'm okay. For this point, I'm okay. But it just started putting a bad taste in my mouth. But when I
you do something with a film with J-Lo and
the
Queen,
a lot of them I forget about.
Yeah, forgive me, Queen.
Viola Davis and J-Lo.
Come
and
on,
man, that's a great movie, by the way. It's called so don't let me forget now. Layla and Eve.
Hey, listen, we ain't gonna pass by how Petty G just had a little humble stunt. He said some of them I forget about. I mean, when you get that, you got that many movie deals. Like, some of them I forget about.
A movie by Universal called Low Riders. A movie called TV show on Showtime. Some of these shows I don't watch because they kind of some of them I don't watch. But
so what you saying is, Petty D, what I'm hearing is you never quit. You never took a hiatus. You shifted your business and you went in other directions. And I believe we need more of that in CHH. It's okay to love the Lord, create great art, and be about your business, understand contracts, and understand ownership. I think that's something we need to talk about more.
And everybody always talks about community and CHHA this and CHA. Then the reality of it is we need more community members. Everybody want to be the artist. We need more managers. We need more booking agencies. We need more, publicists. We need more people in the community to structure the community. That's the difference. Those are the things that you don't see in the mainstream. And the young artists, they're wondering what's missing, and they're not embracing the infrastructure because everybody want to have a crew. You got to put that crew to work. You got to put that crew. You know what I'm saying? You need managers. That homeboy that's sitting around helping with your booking, give him the email and let him book those shows, all those shows that's coming in, all that. Get that help. So our community needs our community definitely needs an infrastructure, and it's only going to take the Lord to do that. But the artists have to start asking people to get these books and create that. We have to create that.
We got to do that to create an economy, so there's something for the next generation. Yeah. We have to create an economy, and that's what I said. Everybody can't be, nor is everyone called to be the artist, but some people can make great entertainment lawyers. Exactly. We need more of that in the CHH community. We need more booking agents with the Kingdom's heart. Man, this will lead me to my next one. This for you, Know the Verbs. Is Village King a record label? Because I got some people already said, look, man, I'm sending my demo. Let them know where. Like, they want to know, is Village King a record label?
I'm going to think about that answer before I answer it. Well, I'll say this again, in the effort of putting all our business things in order while we were doing this music, or in the process of putting out this music, we did formulate Village King Recordings as a label. And so that's kind of when we're not in the studio in the music side of things, that's me and Petty on the business side, just making that happen. So the music has a channel to run in. Exactly. So to answer, the short answer is yes, it's a label. And the way it's arranged currently right now is it's almost it functions as an imprint to Soldier Sound, to Soldier Sound Records. So
wow.
So
but
we
yeah,
basically
that's the
did a
short answer.
Rockefeller. We did the Rockefeller. We did the Def Jam
Y'all did the Rockefeller
Yeah.
Def Jam, huh?
Yeah. And
Okay.
we're gonna make sure each other eat, man. You know,
Listen,
and we're
man.
just gonna live by example.
I love it. I'm here for it, and that's what's needed, man. I love that. And people's like, what they mean, Soldier Sound, Village King Records. He just said it. Do your Googles. He just said it, and that's what's necessary. The Rockefeller, the Terror Squad did it. I mean, so many people, Wu-Tang Productions, and no, we're not mimicking the world. For y'all start throwing the digital fruit at me, you know what I mean? Got a duck out here. What I'm saying is that we're believers, and we're called to do things in the spirit of excellence, and having your business right is a reflection of that. So yes, Village King is a record label. Guys, they will let y'all know when to send the demos. All right, they like support these brothers, and they'll come back on when they're looking for artists. But I believe I'm so grateful that Village King is a record label. When I saw the name and hearing the heart and the music, I believed. I said, listen, I've been saying this for years. I'ma say it here. I believe CHH just got their Wu-Tang. I believe CHH just got their movement. I believe Village King should represent, yo, you down for this, you kingdom, you a king, you leading your village, you Village King. So inspiring artists, support Village King, not in hopes to be signed, but support in hopes that it is a movement. And they're putting out the music that reflect that, if I may say so myself.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I got to ask you guys this, man. The state of CHH. I'm ducking the digital fruit. I'm dodging, man, like the Apollo.
I'll start, man. I'll start because I think about this.
Yeah, you see I cover my mouth, right?
Yeah, I think about this pretty often, just from being starting off as a fan and a consumer of it, moving into a contributor to it, going back into a consumer and a fan of it, and then coming back as a contributor of it. I think the growth has been incredible. Growth of the craft, the growth of the quality of the music just through the years, it continues to grow. I think with everything that's growing, you have your growth pains, and then the hope is that you learn from those challenges or whatever it is that you have to go through to work something out. And that's with anybody. Like we talked about this the other day with hip hop being 50. As far as music genres, that's still a fairly young genre. Yeah. But now you have, people in their 60s, mid 60s who were there at the very beginning and just continue to love the music. So now there's a place, I think, for them to select what they want to hear. And it's not just the current sound of what's happening now. There's a plethora, there's a cornucopia of sounds and eras that you can now pull from as a listener of hip hop. I think specifically for CHH, you see, and I think I've heard KJ52 talk about this as well. Through the years, you see kind of a passing of the baton, as if like there can only be one name, one brand on top. And then it has to change into something else, as if there's not enough space for everybody in it. When you kind of talk about how the industry has supported or not supported Christian hip hop through the years. And so I think now it's grown to a space, with the advent of the internet and everything going digital, folks recording albums, entire records on their phone and just upload it straight to Spotify. I think the space and the landscape is so wide now that whoever wants to put something out and create has the opportunity to do that. And I think just for the fact that it's grown legs to where it can now support itself or create, like we were talking about earlier, create businesses within itself to support itself. Yeah. Whereas previously is like we were leaning on either a Stellar or leaning on a Doves or leaning on a certain thing that we had to kind of sell and convince ourselves that, hey, we need to be a part of this too, because we're a viable ministry and we do music. And so I think that whole question mark has been removed with the rise of your Reach Records, with the rise of your HGAs, with the rise of your indie tribes, to where it's like I think we've continually broke through ceilings that might have held us back previously because
Correct.
people are learning the business side. They're learning the marketing side. So I think, to answer your question, I think the state of hip hop is just, it's widened and it's grown. So at whatever point you came in at, it's not going to just continue to be that, but now you have the option to go find that, because chances are somebody's recording that sound that you like, as well as the more modern sound that my son would like. So I think, again, like what Petty was saying, I think there can still be more unity in that, as well as learning the story of the history of it, because you have guys like a Soup the Chemist, who, if you listen to their stories, same with like a Fred Lynch from PID. It's like, you listen to these guys' stories where there was no landscape. Like, they had to go build the door frame, go to Lowe's, grab the door, go to Home Depot, put the doorknob on the door, just so everybody else after that had somewhere to walk into. But you listen to a lot of their struggles during that time of trying to, again, like, convince, hey, we're here. Yeah, it's hip hop music, but it's not like what you're watching on MTV or BET. This is a viable sound that's embedded and infused with the message of the gospel, and still getting the Heisman from whoever they were trying to sell it to. So they had to go make the way. They had to go chop down and, be the trailblazers. But hearing their story, you realize, oh, that was mid 80s. And that's the same thing we would have went through mid 90s, which is probably the same thing somebody else would have went through mid 2000s. And even in a lot of cases, people still going through in the 2020s. And so learning the history to, like, you don't have to go and recreate everything, pull from the wisdom of whoever came before, and learn those things. And I'm not saying, hey, we're the source, but I'm like, again, I'm watching guys like Soup and hearing their story and be like, man, wow. And they kept going. And they didn't just tap out because it got hard or it got challenging. And there was no promise of a statue coming along with whatever music you put out. There was no promise of being put on a
there
tour,
was no
festival.
Nominations.
There was no. I mean, there was, but there wasn't. You know what I mean? That wasn't the drive. That wasn't the goal. The goal was to get the message in front of a people. And it was really just trying to access the people with this message, because the truth of the matter is like, the gatekeepers at that time, their kids were listening to hip hop music, and it wasn't CHH. So it's like, hey, we're as we serve God, we're trying to serve this music to the culture as well. So that was probably a long answer to address that question, but I think my hope is it's always growing, but my hope is also that we keeping the main thing as we grow into more grow the business acumen, grow the craft, grow the art. But if we keep the main thing and try to resist the celebrity aspect of it all, then I think we can continue to grow versus phasing ourselves out because we become irrelevant and just novelty versus weaponry.
And then people just young artists expressing their frustration with it. And I've even heard people say stuff like CHH is dead, and it's like, okay, well, what are you doing to revive it? You're a part of it, and what are you doing to revive it? What are you it's almost like hey, there's leaks in the boat. It's leaks in the boat. They're yelling, leaks in the boat. We're gonna sink. We're gonna die. It's leaks in the boat. You're gonna stand there and yell until the thing literally sinks, or what are you doing to plug the holes? Okay, and the definition of is dead. Okay, is it dead to you? Is it?
Yeah, Zilla. I piggyback on what he said. I piggyback on what he said as far as is CHH is dead. Like, at what part of CHH? Because there's still brothers and sisters that are moving and pushing and advancing the kingdom through the art form of hip hop. So when you say CHH is dead, I'm saying, what CHH and what do you mean? Because like you said, Know the Verbs, it wasn't in the beginning, it wasn't an award, it wasn't a statue, it wasn't a plaque. It was about communicating the gospel to a culture of people that could that the church, so to speak, probably were not speaking to, didn't know how to speak to, and those people wouldn't even come into the church. So I feel like just how they had the conscious rapper representing their faith and the God's Earth 5%ers. You had the Christian believers saying, look, I'm from this culture. I love this art form. I can do the same thing with my faith. So when I hear CHH is dead, I'm like, what part? What do you mean? Because do you know the why behind CHH? Because if you understand why, if you understand the why behind CHH, then you know that CHH can never die, like his church can never die. Anything that has the King of Glory first and the heart behind advancing and communicating his perfect will for his creation, how can that ever die? So if we want to shift and be like, your theology is off, you know, like your doctrine is off.
Yeah.
Like you now people pertinent. What I can say, the heart and the mission behind some of the people that got into this might have died.
See,
go ahead.
Yep. No, yeah, I'm with you. I'm pointing because I'm with you. I think, and that's where Petty was going. Is like when something is born out of the foundation of the resurrection, then it can't die because it's not embedded with the DNA to die. It's embedded with the DNA to constantly stay alive and continue to grow because of that. But what you just said, hey, there may be a version of that needs to die just so something else can be resurrected in its place in the original form of what it was supposed to be. And I've been thinking about this lately. Like, I know the term CHH has been around forever as far as Christian hip hop.
Yeah.
But like a lot of the early guys, they went with that title of gospel hip hop. And I think when you reference that, then it also makes you remember, oh, this is what it's steeped in, the message that continues to that gives life to the dead, right?
Yeah.
So that was something I just been penciling. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember the gospel hip hop days. I remember too, and I'm pretty sure you do as well, holy hip hop.
Holy hip hop. Yeah.
The holy hip hop. And I believe when it went to Christian hip hop, you have people saying, well, I'm not a Christian rapper, and that's a whole nother spill. So man, do you all consider yourself CHH artists?
Yeah. I mean, I would say so just because it's not something that I get, again, like kind of commenting on what you just said. I think, you know, there was that whole conversation. And regardless, if whether you're a Christian as a rapper or you consider yourself a Christian or CHH artist, if you are a follower of Jesus, your character and the posture of what you do has to be the same anyway. So whether you say we are a CHH artist or not, or Christian as an artist, to me, it doesn't matter. You still got to be a believer. You still got to put your trust in Jesus and create art from that standpoint. So I know some people think it's limiting. It's put them in a box. At the end of the day, just because of the breadth of time that we've been in it, it's not something we're gonna shake anyway. Because people that are listening to us now know us from the years before, when that's what we were labeled as is gospel hip hop artists or Christian hip hop artists. So I don't think it's worth time and energy to try to shake that, in my opinion.
Good deal. Petty D, you consider yourself a Christian hip hop artist?
I do, because, you know, my brothers and constituents in the mainstream consider me a Christian hip hop artist, and they love and respect me for it. I think that's one of the things that it's the age-old block that the young guys keep thinking that they have to shed in order to cross over, when, you know, you don't have to concentrate on crossing over. You just concentrate on taking the crossover. And a lot of these dudes, man, they just want to know if you're a dope artist and if you're a cool person. And, you know, just, you know, cats like authentic. Yeah. They want to make sure that you're living it. Just like in the streets, you know, just want to make sure, you know, even in hip hop prides itself on authenticity, you know. And when they meet an authentic person, like, you know, it's nothing like it. And so if you dope and you good at what you do, you know, you look at cats like Kurt Franklin and Mary and ladies like Mary, and you look at people like the Clark sisters. The mainstream R&B love the Clark sisters. You know what I'm saying? Because they can sing, you know what I'm saying? And they love God. Mainstream, you know, love Mary because they can sing and they love God. Same thing with Kirk. And it's just like, looking for that authenticity, it would be a travesty for a lot of the, like when the interviewer Trey Nine, shout out to Trey Nine, when Trey Nine asked Ross in the interview, do you know any Christian hip hop artists? And the first thing he said was, yeah, man, Petty D. Shout out to Petty D. And he's watched me grind. You know, he's watched. I remember giving my album to JT Money, and he's a platinum recording artist. You know what I'm saying? And I gave him the album. He was like, "This is my template." So, you know, I think guys feeling like they need to shed that is a travesty. And how is the community going to be built if everybody reaches a certain plateau and jumps ship, instead of building it up and understanding that it's bigger than me? You know, it's bigger than what I'm doing, and it's bigger than, you know. So just to answer that question, you know, I'm absolutely a Christian hip hop artist. I'm absolutely OG of CHH. That hasn't stopped me from placing music in TV and film, because they just needed music that was aggressive, that didn't have any cuss words in it, and that was and that fit the song, and that fit the music, and that it was fire. A lot of Christian hip hop artists now, I know, with opportunities, you'll see them more. They're playing a lot more Christian hip hop in ESPN, and you know, and a lot of the commercials and stuff. But a lot of those guys, man, they hold that information to themselves, you know, and that's you know, that's on them. That's, you know, the TV and film is very political, and it's got its a whole nother story. But you saying all that to say, I never had to shed being a CHH artist to grow in that, and to meander my way through that. And a lot of these guys that say that CHH is dead or dying or anything like that, we as community members have to do what we can to breathe life into it. And like Verb said, number one, we got to keep the main thing the main thing. It was started through the message of Jesus Christ. So if you don't want to share the message of Jesus Christ, or at least profess it in your interviews, you could do hot. You know, I'm not telling nobody they can't do hot quality material. I'm not saying it in your music. It might not be Jesus. I get that. But then when you interview, there's no confusion on who you are, what you're about, because that's when the world watching. That's when everybody watching. We want to see that authenticity. Are you gonna, you know, you got actors, my man from Guardians of the Galaxy, man, he professes Jesus Christ. You know what I'm saying? The young lady who played in Black Panther, she professed Jesus Christ, you know, and she's the lead actress of the movie, you know what I'm saying? And she's a professing Christian, like an openly professing Christian. And so that's not the question. And I think when they say things like that, you know, I'm not a Christian rapper. I'm a rapper that's Christian. I'm not this and that. Everybody's been trying to figure out their way to describe it. And I get that. I'm never against that. But now with technology, we don't have to do that to feel like if I say I'm a Christian, then they're going to close these doors. Because, you know, with technology, man, you know, you just do you. Just be who you are. Nice. Do you. And whether you say you're a Christian rapper or a gospel rapper or a CHH rapper or a rapper that's Christian, or I'm just a dope artist that just do, you know, and I live the life and I live the faith. Just when you talk, and when it's time to put this work in, and it's time to win these souls, and it's time to tell people that the Lord Jesus Christ is coming back, and that he died on that cross for your sins. And if you want him in your life and to have eternal life, then to pray this prayer with me. That's the Jesus Christ I'm talking about. So we want to say Jesus, we want to say Yeshua, we want to say the one that died on the cross and that's coming back. If you repping him, then just don't, you don't have to deny it. You don't have to deny who you are. Keep it real, keep it 100, and just make dope music. A lot of these guys say stuff like that. Grits never denied being Christian rappers. They just said we just guys that do dope music, and people hated that. People hated that, man. People hated that they used to say that, but you know, you let the streets talk. You know what I'm saying? You let the streets talk. I'm not going to deny it, because when you ask the dudes from the streets, they're going to say, yeah, man, he rap for God. Yeah, he a Christian rapper, man. He rap for the Lord. It's very disheartening to these artists and the people that's watching us when we get on platforms and say that that's not what we are. But let's just be who we are, man. And if, that's why the world always tell you be real, but keep it real. If that's who you was, if you wasn't no gangster, you wasn't no killer, then why you professing that in your music? You know what I'm saying? And this is that other. If you was a Christian rapper, but you're no longer a Christian rapper, and you at least pay homage to your birthplace and where you came from. Well, I'm just doing mainstream artist music right now. I'm just doing my music, but I started in CHH. That's my birthplace. That's where I'm from. Shout out to the artists in CHH. Don't kick it. When you get to a certain point, kick it, because just like I've seen that, I've been in this thing over 20 years. I've watched people plateau, and what do they do? Come right back to Christian rap. Come right back to CHH when they realize that it's a spiritual warfare. When they get in that mainstream and they realize it has nothing to do with their music. What up, Kenfolk? They realize it has nothing to do with their music and everything. I've been in meetings where they said, and Grits have been in meetings where they said, look, it's not your music. Your music fire. They can't sell no liquor behind you. They can't sell no Black and Milds. They can't promote liquor and do the certain things that encompass what they're doing with musical artists right now. So that's why the deal not gonna work. You see what I'm saying? So but see, these guys are bumping their head and they're talking to OGs. So they get into these certain circles and then they get with certain distribution companies and realize, hey, we can't sell no liquor with you. We can't do this. We can't sell no blacks. We can't do this. We can't play your songs in the strip club. We can't do it. And they start looking at the monetization, money side of it, and that is not good business sense for them as far as where that is. And then they plateau at that certain area. Then they find themselves in purgatory because you deny your origins, but yet still the world not really accepting you because you do hold a certain standard, because there are certain places that you won't cross. Just be who you are. Amen. Or we say in the streets, just be who you is, bro. And let who gonna rock with you.
And that's real. That's real, man. Before I let you guys get up out of here, man, this is the Quantel Lindsay podcast. We are here with Village King. I'm gonna ask you guys some rapid fire questions right here. Given the fact that Know the Verbs have been signed to a major label, Zilla has done a major label, the power of independence. Are you guys against signing deals, doing anything with a major, or y'all like, you know what, man, we like this independent route and the power? Tell the listeners, the viewers, the power behind the independence.
I'll give the shortest answer possible. The power behind independence for us, we're in a situation where we're in the best of both worlds. We're not trying to break into the industry because we've had some experience in the industry, just a reintroduction. And so and then also we've been in it for so long, there are certain things that we're okay with not doing, not being a part of. 100% of $1,000 is a whole lot better than 1% of 10,000, or point what they're paying right now on streaming. They paying 0.0003. A quarter of a cent. Yeah. You have that those options of being seen, but then if you ever notice, because when those artists that are on majors don't create a structure for themselves when they're in the light, or like when Jay-Z say, everybody wants to be in the white hot space. Nobody concentrates on the red hot space and the stability of it. That's the time not to buy $1,000, $1 million chains and $1 million cars. That's the time to create the stability for yourself, so that when you do go independent, and when you do go the independent route, like Dame Dash say, you have your own bag, because the major label ain't nothing but a big bank, and they're gonna want their money back. And they have a few things that they can do for you, but with technology, we can reach the people. So I'm not definitely not anti.
Know the Verbs. You pro independent or you pro major?
Yeah, I think kind of probably wrapping what he just said on the tail end is I think the power of independence, one, is freedom as far as an artist.
Yeah.
But then just realizing, it's work as well. So whatever you thought the expectation would have been just by having your own independence, that's also going to have to be replaced with work and effort, strategy. Again, just everybody upgrading on the business side, and it won't always be, if you are the artist and the business person, you're going to have to switch up on some hats and put different hats on at different times. So really just counting the cost of what do you feel like the end goal is and what's the best way for you to get there to where you can maintain ownership and still hit the target that you're going after.
Whether you're going for a mainstream major deal or independent deal, the goal should always be stability for you and your family, and stability for setting up a system for yourself. Because you always hear artists talk about they were a major and then the label didn't do this and the label didn't do that and they dropped off. Well, they didn't utilize that time to build a stable thing for themselves. So. And there are some of them. See, artists don't want to do the boring part. The boring part is reading the books. The boring part is, learning what your percentage of your contracts are. There's some amazing books out there, audio books. If you don't like to read, all you need to know about the music industry, all you need to know about the music business. There are a lot of books, but we're definitely not anti-major, but stability is the key. So stabilize yourself with your circle. Always, okay, the best way I can put it is, if you're on an independent, grind like an independent. If you're on a major, grind like an independent. Grind like it's not going to happen for you tomorrow if everything falls apart.
Wow, that's good. That's good, man. This is Quantel Lindsay. I'm here with Village Kings, Petty D, and Know the Verbs. They got what that Forward Motion was the second single y'all dropped out. Was it Motion? Then y'all got that Afro Frontier that just dropped, which is
that's
crazy.
My daughter right there. Shout out Vaughn.
What's up, Vaughn? What's up? How you doing? Guest of the show, just jumped in. Welcome to the Quantel Lindsay podcast.
Administrator and the future administrator of the label.
Oh, so come on!
I wanted y'all to see her.
Listen, just tell her, get a little homie an internship. I go get the water.
Upcoming future producer.
Oh, come on.
Trayvon, shout out Trayvon, future producer on the label. So it's going
good deal. Welcome to the Quantel Lindsay podcast. When you get to rolling, you gotta come back on the show. Let us know everything you're doing. We're running the label, production, and everything. Listen, you gotta be here at this table. Yeah, man, before I let y'all get out of here, I want to ask both y'all this question. Y'all got a choice. Y'all can give me your top 5 artists or your top 5 albums of all time, dead or alive.
Ooh. I'm gonna go quick. Soul Food.
Okay. Is this in any particular order or no particular order?
No particular order.
Okay. It's your top 5 albums, right?
Phase 3.
Okay.
Phase 3, SFC, Soldiers for Christ.
Okay.
Soul Food, gospel. Soul Food. Who else? Definitely. Oh man, my head got stuck. Oh,
Petty D, who is Soul Food by? Who is Soul Food by?
Soul Food by Goody Mob.
Okay, Goody Mob. Okay.
So, Phase 3, Soul Food. Verbs, you gotta help me out here, man. I'm getting stuck. So
I'm stuck myself. I'm sitting here trying to think. I'm sitting here trying to think before I get called.
Yeah, because hip hop, like, I would actually have to say from top to bottom, the Art of Translation. I mean, I know that sound like that's because that's my homeboys, but
yeah, you sound a little biased, Dilla. You sound a little biased.
Man, listen, Art of Translation, Grits, Art of Translation.
Okay, it's 3.
Because I can explain that because I got some production on there, but I think it was Ooh-Ah was on that album. That was the first gospel Christian hip hop song to ever go platinum. And it took them nationwide, and it did a lot of big things. So Art of Translation, Soul Food, AT Aliens, Phase 3 by Soup the Chemist and SFC, Soldiers for Christ, and believe it or not, is what's one? Oh, It's another Goody Mob album. Still standing. And the reason why I like Goody so much because they were ahead of their time. For me, that was a template of Southern hood Christian hip hop.
Wow.
Because they were preaching and teaching on certain things that the mainstream couldn't understand. But it was a template for us, for me as a believer, listening to the messages as hip hop artists. And I was like, yo, like, they really doing this thing. So yeah, so that's my 5. You got my 5 in there?
I got your 5 in there.
You got my 5 in there.
That's Petty D. Know the verbs. Top 5.
Man.
You give me your top 5 artists or your top 5 albums all
See,
time.
that ain't fair. See, that ain't fair. You ain't give me that. But that's all right. Go ahead, verbs.
Yeah, top 5. So I would say these are albums that I think I respect the record because of what they did for whatever genre they're in, right? So I would say Arrested Development's first drop, Tennessee, because it changed a lot of things when they came in with that. The Fugees, The Score, Tribe Called Quest, The Low End Theory.
Yeah.
What is that? 3?
Yep.
Roots, Do You Want More?
Ooh.
And man, Fred Hammond, Pages of Life, the live version, the live CD.
That's 5. Hey, listen. If knowing you brothers' music, following y'all career, and listening to y'all, that makes so much sense.
Okay, cool. Yeah,
it makes so much, like, to say, oh, this is Petty D top 5. It makes me get your music even more now.
Yeah.
And then going to know the verbs, and when he give me his top 5, I'm like, yeah, I can see that in the Brother Wardrobe. Yeah. I can see that. I can see. Oh, it makes sense why he was walking through the woods like that in the Harriet Tubman video.
Yeah,
right. It makes sense because, and I say that, brother, because you guys are fruit off those legends tree. And I tell all my young people when I'm mentoring, consulting for people, yo, be fruit off someone's tree. Don't pick off nobody's tree.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah. Listen. I only got one rule on the Quantel Lindsay podcast. If I say anything dope and tweetable at Quantel Lindsay, just at me.
That's done. That's fair. That's fair.
So I tell people all the time, man, that's good. Just quote me, brother. I need just tell them where you got it from.
Yeah.
But nah, real talk, man. I tell people all the time, man. I'm fruit off a lot of you brothers' tree, and be fruit off someone's tree. Don't pick off someone's tree. It's a difference. So, man, I wanted the people to hear your top 5. I wanted to hear because I not only is Petty my brother, we go back. I'm a fan. You guys are legends, bro, and I believe our culture will not continue to grow until we honor those who have plowed before us, till we honor those. And I say that all the time. Zilla, I said this to you privately, I said publicly. Nas is still celebrated.
Yeah.
Nas is, and until CHH start celebrating those who went before us, because I can only imagine what you went through in 99 with gold teeth and talking about Jesus is Lord. So I know just off note of verbs, off of Petty D going through it, I done got booked in with places that I would have not been accepted had not brothers like yourself went there and took the bumps, the bruises, and maybe some of the boos first. So, brother, we honor y'all. We love y'all. We want to give y'all crown while y'all here to wear them. And I want everybody to go out there and support Village Kings. I mean, you brothers have dropped 3 smashes.
Thank you.
And let me say this. Not 3, and this is not a diss, this is not a shame. Not 3 CHH smashes. Not 3 smashes. If you know music, if you're a fan of bars, concept, wordplay, these brothers got something. And I'm telling you, Team Early, support Village King now. Support Village King now. Hey, man, I love you, brothers.
Too,
and
appreciate
what
it,
can the people expect from Village King going forward? What can people expect from Village King?
Man, definitely more great music, man. We're going to be speaking more. We want to be a solution. We want to start bringing solutions. It's been years of what's wrong with CHH. We've been hearing that a lot. With the music, we want to be voices for a solution. We want to raise the bar. Raise the bar musically, raise the bar verbally, and raise the bar spiritually. We want to be, we're both husbands, fathers. That was my adult daughter there, and we want to continue to in ownership and just raise the bar and say, okay, you see how these brothers doing it, just like what we did with Soup the Chemist. When Verbs heard him and said, "Man, that's what I want to do." When I heard SFC and said, "That's what I want to do." We want to raise the bar to the point, not to say, "Look at us," but to say, that's the standard right there, man. The lyrics, the music, the videos, they own the labels. They're talking about Jesus. They love God. Their speaking is not like, we want to raise that bar and to be information. We've bumped our head enough so that you don't have to. But we want to be here. We're going to be here, and we're going to continue to put out great music and speak life and speak love and profess that Jesus is Lord. And that's what you're definitely going to continue to get from Village King. And it's not a one-off, and it's not a collab.
Amen. This is the official group, and you can get ready to support them. Know the verbs.
Yeah, man, just really to keep cultivating in all domains that we have the privilege to be a part of, man. Just keep creating opportunity, and like you said, continue to create like we have, continue to create at the level we're able to, and get that in front of the people, whether it be through shows, whether it be through podcasts, whether it be through speaking, what have you. Continue to cultivate and just really lean into the wiring that God enabled us to do that. So,
yeah,
amen. Where can people find you on social? Give them all your social medias.
Everything at Village King. If you look up under there, Know the Verbs, Petty D, everything is at Village King. If you want Petty D, go to Village King. If you want Know the Verbs, go to Village King. It's all intertwined right there, VILLAGEKNG. And that's on all social media platforms. So if you want Petty D or Know the Verbs, go to at Village King. And if you want Village King, go to at Village King on all media platforms.
Man, I can't thank you, brothers, enough. This is another episode of the Quantel Lindsay podcast with Village King, sponsored by Blueprint for Life. There is no blueprint for life, but together we can create one. So be a blueprint, leave a blueprint. Listen, y'all heard these brothers. I am an honorary member. So when they get an award for Harriet Tubman, I want my invitation. I want my invitation for the Harriet Tubman Award. Frontier, Motion. Listen, I need to be at the Dove, Stella, and the Grammys, because that one's going. Listen. I'm having Kanye moments if I'm not nominated.
I like that. Kanye moment.
Kanye moments. Hey, listen, I love you, brothers. Y'all be blessed. Continue to be great. The culture love y'all. Never stop.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Peace.